In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 100 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're back at Kiln Provo talking with Ray Smithson. Ray is a startup, VC, and angel connector, a pitch coach, and startup advisor with Ray Smithson Consulting, third Thursdays at 3, and Venture Capital Scout. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode and all of the episodes of the Kiln Road Trip. We hope you enjoy.
Here we are, just arrived back to Provo, and this is where we started. And so we thought it would be incredible to finish our journey. We had some ups and downs trying to get to our final set of interviews, and here we are. We've driven all the way through the night, and I want to welcome and introduce Ray Smithson, who we are grateful that you joined. We were going to interview earlier, and it was so many interviews and so many schedules, and somehow it dropped through the net. And actually, there's a reason why, because now we can at least interview you now. So thank you for joining the Swell Pod and the Kiln Road Trip.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be the final interview. That's pretty cool. And yeah, I've been watching what you guys have been doing, and just absolutely love what you're doing. So really great to be on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks for being, well, it's not even, it's one of the 100. It's like the 100th. Oh, yeah. We've been saying that to everyone. So Ray, could you introduce yourself for those that our audience don't know you, maybe a little bit about what's led you up to what you do now, but more importantly, like why do you do what you do now, and why are you passionate about it?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the good places to start is in Taiwan. So I lived in Taiwan for 10 years. I started a consulting business out there, also founded an ed tech startup. And I also, as COVID hit, I became friends with a person that's a venture capital guy out of Silicon Valley, became kind of a mentor of mine. And we both started a group called the Taiwan Investors Club. I ended up moving back to Utah because there's some, tension over there between Taiwan and China and whatnot. And I started just, getting blown away by what was happening here in Utah with all the startups. And particularly one, it's actually a Stanford University Graduate School venture capital study that showed that Utah was number 1 in the U.S. for the ratio of venture-backed startups becoming unicorns. And that got me really excited. I was like, man, this might be one of the best places you could be for startups. And just started bouncing the idea of a pitch event off people, because I'd been doing consulting for business communication skills trainings and stuff, and I've had to pitch. And I figured the best thing I can do for startups is to help them with their pitch and put them in front of investors. The best thing I could do for investors is to put good startups in front of them. And that's what started the third Thursday at 3 pitch event. And we have it every third Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. at Kiln headquarters in Lehigh. And that's been a fun adventure. I'm also scouting for some VC funds and learning about special purpose vehicles, which is a type of investment vehicle for startups, and just getting my feet wet in that. So these are some things I'm working on, and love to be back in Utah. There's a lot of cool things happening, and Kiln has been a great supporter of my pitch events from the very beginning. The first event was at Kiln. I hope to have all the events at Kiln because it's been a really great place to do it. Amazing organization. So
fantastic. Yeah, no, that's great. Well, you've answered a few different questions there. Why you did it and what you were trying to achieve. Tell me just before we go, maybe dive into one of those areas. Tell me a bit about your life, who you are, like other things outside work.
Yeah. So I would consider myself a very adventurous person, and that's what brought me to Taiwan. I did some study abroads in Spain and Austria, and so I absolutely love camping. I love the outdoors. Utah's a great place for that, and I think that's one of the things that got me interested in doing what I'm doing, is because I was traveling all over the world to find adventure, but then when I came back to Utah, I saw all these startups, and it felt like the same type of adventure, but it was happening in our backyards. And that's so at my core, I think I just love adventure. I love, just the outdoors. And I think Utah is a really great place for that. And there's a reason why they call it venture, like venture capital, and going on. It's like an adventure. I think it can be a roller coaster at times, but it's a lot of fun. So
that's great.
I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely.
Next question. Yeah. So where did the actual name come from? I love the name.
Third Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, I have had a family reunion that happens like every last July in the White Mountains in Arizona. And I think one of the key reasons why it's been so successful, like 300 people show up and go camping in the mountains in Arizona every year. It's been happening for 75 years or something like that. And I feel like the key ingredients were that it's everyone knows exactly when it's going to be, and everyone knows where it's going to be. And so that I applied that. I was kind of bouncing the idea of like first Friday at 5 or second Saturday at 7, something easy to remember. And I started talking to some of the venture capital funds, and they were like, Thursday is a good day for us. Thursday at 3 sounds good. So I did it to cater for the investors. I want the investors to come and see the startup, so if it's easy for them. And third Thursday at 3 kind of just stuck, and easy to remember when it will be, every third Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. So that's how it started, just bouncing ideas off people, I guess. So
yeah, it's a killer name. You can't forget it. It's incredible. But tell me about so any success stories that you've seen through your event.
Yeah, I mean, I always get approached by startups afterwards that say thank you so much. And the thing is with startups, I found is that sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months before they get through due diligence, even, which is the investors are looking into their finances and all sorts of things. There's been several that have come to me and said, "Hey, yeah, we got investment through your event, and then we got more investment through that investment." And so I just think it's cool. I mean, I don't really make money off of it. It's I get some sponsors, and I have a partnership with Connect Capital, that's helping recently. But the event is mostly just like a passion project, I guess. And just a lot of awesome people show up, like, all the people that come. And it's just been a great way to get connected and provide some value for this awesome collaborative and cooperative ecosystem here. And I love it. So
that's great. Just tell me a little bit about the format, and then also how have you intertwined family?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a family organized event in some ways. My sister does the charcuterie table. My mom helps with setting it up and does the timer for the event. The format is we get 5 startups pitch for 5 minutes each with a couple minutes of Q&A, and we just invite as many investors into the audience as would like to come, and usually a decent number come. And also, it's not just investors in the audience. There's a lot of other startup founders and people that are just interested in that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the format, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. So I'm gonna push you on this one. So I know it's non-profit. You didn't set it up to earn money, and that's actually we've been talking about that today. Actually, non-outcomes or things where we're not having to worry about too much about measuring the success. Just it feels good, it seems like the right thing to do, and things will work out. But And I know you have the other many other things you're working on, right? There's like several things, so we can talk about one of those a little bit more. But I'm just wondering what your vision is for Thursday at 3. 2 or 3 years from now.
Yeah.
3 years from now.
3 years. 3 years from now.
Sorry.
So a reason I started with that third Thursday is because I want to have a cadence where people can just mark it on their calendars 6 months in advance and just, kind of mark that part of their calendar. Because I've seen it be really successful with things like my family reunion. I also used to do other like weekly events, Tuesday at 10 events, and they kind of tend to snowball. And I love the area in Kiln Lehigh because it's just right in the heart of what's happening, between Salt Lake and Utah Valley. And I feel like just keeping it going and letting it snowball and just having it be sort of a heartbeat, just happens once a month, boom, boom, everyone knows that it's going to happen. And every startup that wants to pitch knows that they need to do that. And every investor knows that that's a good place to see startups every month. And I'm interested in scaling it digitally, we just last time recorded the pitches so that this helps the startups because they can send out the recorded pitch to the investors. It also brings there's a lot of people interested in what's happening in Utah. I found from New York and California, and they've said, hey, we want to see these pitches. How can we see these pitches? So scaling it, maybe keeping that location, it doesn't need to scale physically. It just needs to scale digitally, and scaling it would be good, with video and different things. And I'm getting a little bit better at the social media marketing, especially on LinkedIn. I'm not by any means good, but I'm, learning bits and pieces at a time. So
Great.
Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the process for a startup who wants to pitch?
Yeah, usually what they'll do is I do most things through LinkedIn. So they'll contact me, add me on LinkedIn, and we'll set up a time so that I can see their pitch. Because I really need to be able to see their pitch before I put them on stage. I've noticed that some people will convince me, oh yeah, I pitched 1,000 times, but I need to see, it's actually optimal if I see their stage presence and stuff, and I can give them a little bit of feedback. So I'll do just a virtual kind of pitch to me, or sometimes I'll do pitch polishing events. We'll get, 10 or 15 startups just pitch to me, and I'll give them feedback, and then I can see them on stage. That'll be a more face-to-face event. But I haven't started doing those regularly, so I'm thinking about doing that. The first step, though, is just connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Ray Smithson, and we can go from there. And that's where I invite everyone for the events. So.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, so you've kind of already talked about Kiln Lehigh in the space, but is there anything else that you could mention about Kiln and their support and how they've kind of been there for that, I guess, or how maybe they've shown up?
Yeah, Kiln. So I've been, to a lot of events in kilns all over in Salt Lake and Provo. They had the launch party that was amazing. I've just been overall very impressed with Kiln, and I think they are facilitating a lot and helping a lot with this collaborative and cooperative ecosystem, because it's just really a magnet for startups. And I can't think of a better place to do the event, because there's not only a lot of startups in the space that are creative, they're bouncing ideas off each other and meeting each other all the time, but it's just located great, and this Kiln staff is incredibly helpful. They go above and beyond all the time. Like one time I was walking around Kiln Lehigh, and it was International Women's Day. They were wheeling a cart around of fresh cut flowers and giving them out to all the women in Kiln, and that's just how Kiln is. It's just the customer service, the everything in it is special. And not only the interior design is amazing and it's just a cool place, but the people that work there that are officing at Kiln and their Kiln staff I can't say enough good things about Kiln. And they've supported it from the very beginning, and I can't say thank you enough for them doing that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I do have another question, if that's okay. So let's see. So what would be one piece of advice that you could give to somebody who could to develop the best pitch of their life, let's say?
One of the things that I see people, the really good pitches that I've seen mostly involve some kind of a story, and if your company has a story and you can use that as the through line of your pitch and then tack on all of those, all of the key numbers and things you need, plus keeping it not too wordy, but kind of visual. Just those are key things for any kind of really good presentation. And a pitch is one of the most important presentations you can give. So some of the ones I like the most are the ones that have a story behind them. At least lead with a story and then hit the key things that they need to tell the investors, the things that investors are interested in. Those are some tips that I give pretty much everyone that pitches or that I see their pitch and some feedback.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Spencer, do you have any other questions?
I know we've got this one question we want to ask now. Should we ask it now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we've asked to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. And another thing, we'd love to have you when we do more long form again. Love to get into more about the other projects you're working on. By the way, sounds really interesting, and it's in that same space, right? And maybe also about I noticed that you're really passionate about community and connectivity and very good at connecting people, right? And so I'm sure that's why you're doing it, really, because you want to connect people, right? That anyhow, that can be for another day.
Yeah.
So the killer question that we've been asking everyone, and you're the 100th person to answer it, is what does it take to create?
Just do a quick pause.
Oh, I was pausing for the trash bin. Now I have to pause for the jet. Anyone else? No, okay. What does it take to create something that has never existed before in your experience?
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Camper Vans, a luxury camper van rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra camper vans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell. /swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
Also, ensure energy security with backup power during outages.
reduce carbon emissions with renewables,
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
and enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Let's see. Something that's never existed before. I think it takes other people.
Yeah.
Because if I wouldn't be able to do this event by myself. My mom and sister. I'll pause. Yeah. My mom, sister helping out with the event. The people I bounced the idea off and gave me encouragement from the very beginning. Kiln, obviously, and if you want to do anything impactful, I think it's not ever one person. Typically, it's even if it looks like one person, it's usually a bunch of people all interconnected, helping out somehow, or somebody giving mentorship or ideas or many different things. So I think building that and just understanding that no person is an island and that you need other people to kind of help you, and being in a place like Kiln, for example, facilitates that perfectly.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in two ways. One, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.